I'd say there's many layers to understanding yoga. Vipassana is yoga. The two, in fairness, when we look at the birth of yoga, as far as I can tell, again, I'm not the world recognized authoritarian on yoga. So let's start with that. But from what I've learned and from what I've studied, and I've been learning about yoga very seriously since 2011, so about 15 years. Um, Yoga in its original design was to yoke, to huge, to yoke what? A horse and chariot. That's weird. What does that mean? And how do we get from that to down dog? Well, because the mind can be like a battlefield. And if you're a foot soldier and I'm a guy with a horse and chariot, bye bye now, right? So you find a lot of power in unifying the resources that are available to you. That's yoga. So from there, in an easier time, it was this: sit, find stillness, realize God, realize the nature of the universe within yourself. Stop chasing it out there, sit. Okay. Then it started to expand. Oh, can't really sit so well. Okay, here's a couple seated positions. The original Hatha Yoga, it was Sukhasana, Siddhasana, Padmasana, Ardha Padmasana, Virasana. These are all seated poses. In fact, the word asana, it does not mean pose. The literal translation of the word asana means seat. And if you even want to look at it in any pose, it makes sense, because for you to create length in your spine, you need to have a foundation to which you build upon. That is your butt. That is your pelvis. So the pelvis, the awareness of the pelvis in the posture of sitting is crucial. If you don't know how to find your seat in a yoga pose, you will be unstable and you'll be burning a lot of energy and you'll probably have compression in your spine. Then we got deeper and deeper and further away from it. Krishnamacharya was tasked with saving yoga from dissolution because the British were over there colonizing and they were trying to get rid of all of these wonderful Indian philosophies. And so Krishnamacharya was tasked to save yoga. And so he started clipping things from British gymnastics. There was no handstand in yoga. There wasn't a lot of this stuff in yoga. Then he would show people, because at the time people were really interested in physical prowess. So he would teach these 13-year-old boys and he would beat them. I mean, from what I've heard, he was a pretty rough guy. He's a very strict disciplinarian. I can't say to his mental state. I imagine it's just a different time where we're very strict. Physicality, corporal punishment was par for the course back then, so I don't judge it. I just say it was part of the time. But he would literally teach these kids yoga. They would get so strong, he would put them in full wheel or camel, which is basically this gnarly back bend. People can't do camel for more than a minute for most people here in the West. He would stand on a student in a full back bend for an hour and just sit there and talk about yoga in the middle of the street. And people were like, what? It's pretty shocking. Like, what's going on here? And so that got people involved. So where I see things is that Vipassana, I have some pros and cons about Vipassana, to be honest. The pro of it is so in line with the direct knowledge of yoga, is to sit in stillness and to realize yourself. That is, I can't say how much I love that about Vipassana. The issue with Vipassana that I can see is there is no living teacher. If you do Vipassana, or anybody on the planet does Vipassana, you watch the recorded videos of Goenka. You can't ask him a question. Keep in mind, in context, I only did the intro 10-day course. I haven't done the 30, and it was my first time. I may have missed it. I give every possibility to that. I will say, for the people that I've seen go back many times, including the servers, their posture, straight as an arrow. Fantastic. For the most part, everyone says the physicality is not to be underestimated. People are slouching, people are dying, they want to quit because their low back hurts. And what I felt was there's not a lot of instruction on how to sit, on how to set up your blocks. It's kind of like you play, you figure it out. I'm like, but what if people don't have anatomical awareness? Give me 10 minutes and I could have taken everybody through at least 5 to 10 sitting positions that would have vastly transformed their experience. Still, pain will come up. But what I felt was there was kind of this feeling that when the pain comes up, it's a good thing, because you're dealing with your samskaras, you're dealing with your past patterns, you're learning to not react to that pain. In some perception, that is true. In another, pain is information. That pain in your low back is actually you're compressing your spine. Yes, you could not react to it, but maybe you decompress your spine because that's better for your spine. Again, this is from the intro. I don't know what happens when you're there for longer. So why yoga is so important for all of you listening. Keep practicing yoga, especially with someone who understands these things. The ability to move consciously, to be intentional, to be centered, to be grounded, to find your seat so that you might lengthen your spine, because your spine tall is your nervous system. It conducts the electricity. If your spine is all thrown out of shape, your antenna's not there. You're not able to send information within the body. You're not receiving the body sensations. Things will get blurry and dark, just like an antenna with an old television. So you practice the physical asana to be more aware of your breath, to create space, to create length, to create strength so that you can sit there for a longer period of time, to also regulate your nervous system so that you can sit there in stillness for a longer period of time, and then do Vipassana as well, because you don't know what you don't know. And the moment you just sit there in stillness, you realize moving around, helpful, can also be a distraction. In pure stillness, you got to deal with what's coming up. You can't move your way out of it. You can't force the breath out of it. You're just observing your breath. You're observing your body. You're observing your mind. You're observing your emotions as it is. And that's beautiful. And that will take your yoga practice to another level. And your yoga practice will take your Vipassana practice to another level. My heart, my soul believes there is room for both.